Hey everybody, it's Taylor with Boydston Grove, and today we're going to show you 5 different projects that you can make to decorate your house for this upcoming fall.
That's a lot.
Let's get into it.
We're going to have so much fun.
I got the idea for this first project from Aaron over at Who's the Boss. He works on a lot of practical woodworking projects, so make sure to go over and check him out after you watch this video. I'm going to make this project twice. The first version is going to be like Aaron's, and the second is going to be my own version. For this project, you're going to need 4 pieces of standard 2x4 cut to 3.5 inches long so they end up being square. I sanded the blocks and rounded all the corners. I stained 2 of the blocks using Mission Oak Poly and Stain Mix by Minwax and painted the other 2. Because the blocks have finish on them already, I used some construction adhesive to glue them together. I cut some lettering out using my longer Ray 5 10-watt laser and used some art markers to color them. Then I attached them to the blocks using some super glue. You could also paint the lettering on or cut them out using a scroll saw or a Cricut. For the second version, I drilled holes through the end of each block all the way through. After they were painted and stained, I grabbed some 1-inch wooden beads and some hemp rope and began stringing them together, alternating the beads and the blocks. Once they were strung together, Christina helped me make some tassels to attach to each end. Here's a quick little view on how we make our tassels. The more loops you make around your fingers, the bigger your tassels will be. And there you have it, some quick and easy tassels.
That was easy.
Totally.
And that does it for project number 1, 2 versions of one simple project. Project number 2 is going to be some wall art. I started with a scrap piece of wood that was actually some old trim from our house, and I cut it to about 15 inches long. I shrunk down one of my pumpkin trivet templates and traced it out on a thin piece of scrap and then cut it out on the scroll saw. I cut some more lettering out on the laser, but again, you can paint yours on if you want. I painted the lettering and added some detail on the pumpkin with some paint that I picked up from the Oops rack at Home Depot. Then I painted one side of the board, making sure not to go all the way to the edge. I wanted to leave a little reveal to kind of create a frame. I grabbed some craft paints and set to work adding some little vines and leaves around the board. Once everything was dry, I attached the pumpkin using some construction adhesive and the lettering using some super glue. Lastly, I used some staples to attach hemp rope to the back to hang the picture from, and that does it for project number 2. Project number 3 is going to be a door hanger or more wall art if that's what you prefer. I started with a scrap piece of 1/2" plywood, and using my handy dandy circle jig, I traced out 3 circles overlapping each other. Then I drew on a stem and cut it out with the jigsaw. After that, I used a 1/2" drill bit and drilled an even number of holes along both sides following the lines of the center circle. Using more Oops paint, I added some detail to the pumpkin to make it look more, I guess, pumpkin-y.
Close enough.
I wove some 1/2" rope through the holes, making sure to leave enough extra for the sign to hang from. You don't have to use rope this big, just remember to drill the holes close to the size of the rope that you want to use. For the actual sign part, I just grabbed some scraps that looked about right. I stained them using Varathane's Briarthorn Gray and then painted on the lettering. I use some Velcro to attach the sign, that way I can make different signs and swap them out. And there you go, a super simple door hanger. Project number 4 is a tabletop turkey, and for this project I used some 1/2" and 1/4" plywood along with the template that I created. The template is available on our website if you're interested. I decided to cut the rear feathers and the feet out of the 1/2" plywood and the rest of the pieces out of the 1/4" plywood. Cutting the pieces out on the scroll saw didn't take very long at all, but some of the pieces are pretty small, so you just need to take your time and be careful.
We're being very careful.
Once all the pieces were sanded, I started painting them. Because the bottom of the body and the tail were not flat, I needed to glue them together standing up to make sure that the turkey would stand properly when it was finished.
My gosh, how cute!
I left every other tail feather bare wood and used my wood burner to add some Thanksgiving/fall words. And there is our Thanksgiving turkey all done. For our 5th and final project, we're making some tabletop or shelf decor. I started with a scrap piece of 3/4" plywood and templates from our website. I also cut a piece of 2x4. The length is going to vary, and you'll see why as we get further along in the project. After much sanding, I stained the 2x4 with mission oak and began to paint the cutouts. I also cut out more lettering on the laser and painted that as well. I used some super glue to attach the lettering to what will be the front of the 2x4. Again, you don't have to use a laser. You can paint the lettering across the front or cut it out with a scroll saw or use a stencil. Once everything was dry, I attached the tree cutouts to the 2x4 using some glue and brad nails. Alright, there's our mountain of fall decor projects. Let's go over a few things real quick. Starting with our first 2 projects here, I'm really happy with how both of them came out. I think the only thing that I'm a little unsure about is using that acorn for the A on this version. I think it looks a little too much like a U or an O, so I might actually just draw an A over the acorn or redo it or something, I don't know. But they were really simple, quick projects, and I think they make a great statement piece for any shelf or tabletop. When it comes to our second project, I have absolutely no complaints. I love the way this thing came out. I love the color combos. It was a really quick project and a great way to use up some scraps. As far as our door hanger goes, I'm really happy with the end results. The only thing that I will change is I will remove the rope from the center areas here so this sign can sit flat against the back. Other than that, I think it's a great project, and I love that I put Velcro on this so I can swap out the signs and just come up with different sayings for it each year. As far as these turkeys go, this was a fun project and it makes me smile every time I look at those faces. As you can see, I made a second one. This one I cut out on the laser engraver. It took maybe 15 minutes to cut out all the parts. It was super quick. I have a full template for these turkeys if you want to make one for yourself. I'll leave a link in the description below. Last but not least, we have these tabletop decor or shelf decor, whatever you want to use them for. I really like the way they came out. You can see I made two different ones. This one that you saw me make, I really like the blue on the lettering, but once I put it all together, I'm not really sure now, so I may repaint that. I don't know. What I like about these is they are two-sided, so you could easily put lettering on the other side as well and use it as a table centerpiece. I have a template bundle for all of these cutout shapes available on our website. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. A big shout out and a thank you to all of you that actually go to our website and buy the plans and templates, because that really helps support our shop so that we can work on more projects. I hope all these projects gave you a couple ideas of things that you can make to decorate for this fall. Thank you very much for watching. Be safe and have a great day.